Can I get a picture like I'm with a Muppet in the cookies? No, just kidding.
I'm not recording that. I'm still going this.
You're still recording that? Oh. Like, hey, cookies. Okay, welcome back with Community Natural Foods and our keto dessert series that we've been doing. I'm Vanessa, and today we're gonna be making ice cream sandwiches, which is a really fun, delicious treat for the summer, especially with all the hot weather that we've been having. So we're gonna start with a peanut butter cookie. We're gonna be making a peanut butter cookie with coconut flour. So we'll get started with that. First, you're gonna put together your Swerve sugar. I'm using the Granulated Swerve sugar, which is a sugar replacement for the keto diet. It has 0 calories. So add that. And then I'm gonna use some grass-fed butter and some peanut butter. You really wanna have all your ingredients for your cookies at room temperature. That way when you're creaming the butter and the peanut butter together with the sugar, it goes a little bit faster. And that when you're adding your eggs and things like that, it'll emulsify a lot better, so you won't have it kind of separate in the bowl. So we're gonna put this together. The longer that you cream your butter and sugar, it'll affect the spread of your cookies. So if you want your cookies to be kind of thick and together, you wanna cream your butter and sugar a lot less. You're really gonna want your eggs to be at room temperature, and when you're adding them to the batter, which we're gonna do next, you wanna add them one at a time and mix between each time before adding the next egg. You can add your vanilla and your eggs together. I like to crack my eggs into a bowl. It makes it easier to add them one at a time when they're already pre-cracked. That way we can kind of just pour them in instead of cracking an egg and adding it in. I'm gonna pop my vanilla in with that. Just kind of saves me some time. All right, so we'll pop that on again. Just 1 egg at a time. And you're gonna wanna whip those together so that until the egg is completely incorporated. You can see it's thickening up here. Add the next egg. After the second egg, I like to give it a scrape down with my spatula just so that you're getting everything off the sides and things are getting evenly incorporated in there. All right, so that's all mixed up together. And then you're gonna take your dry ingredients, set that aside. I like to put them all together. So I'll have my coconut flour. I'm using baking powder. If you choose not to use baking powder, it'll have just more of a dense cookie. So the baking powder is just kind of lightening it up. Then I got some salt in there. Just get that kind of incorporated. I like to whisk the baking soda in and the salt so that you won't hit patches of baking powder and salt in there. So we're gonna add this in like so. And then I'm just gonna fold it in by hand. You can use your mixer if you want to. I just prefer not to. Once this is all done, you're gonna wanna let your dough rest for about an hour just to kind of chill it out. And then the spread won't be so significant. So once that's mixed up, you can put it in some plastic wrap or whatever you choose to use and pop it in to the cooler to rest. And with the power of YouTube and preparation, I have some dough ready for us. So what I like to do with my cookies so that they're evenly, I like to weigh them out. So I have a little scale. The cookies that I'm gonna do today, obviously you know this about me already, I'm sure. I like little bite-sized things so that I can maybe eat more than just one, not feel guilty about it. So we're gonna do these cookies at 20 grams. So probably about a tablespoon sized ball, a little bit less. So it'll look about that big. You're gonna roll them up got a sheet pan here with some parchment. If you have a non-stick baking pan, you don't need to use parchment, that's okay. Or if you have a Silpat or something like that. So I'll just do a few here. And then we're gonna fork them down afterwards. If your fork is sticking when you're squishing down your cookies, just use a little bit of the coconut flour that we used in the recipe, extra coconut flour, just to do that. So do that. And then with the cookies, I just hold them down, press down quite significantly, rotate my pan and give it another one. And then that's it. And then you're gonna bake them probably for about 8 to 12 minutes, depending on your oven. Check them halfway through and at about 350 degrees. So the second half of the recipe, we're gonna be making the avocado chocolate mousse. So that's gonna be the filling of it. I like to pipe these individually and freeze them so that you can just make your sandwiches as you go. So we're gonna start off by melting the chocolate. We're using 100% chocolate. And I'm putting a little bit of butter in there. That will help to prevent it from seizing when you mix it into the cream cheese and the avocado, and I'll show you later what I mean. So we're gonna melt it on a bain-marie here. So you're gonna want it at like a medium heat. A bain-marie is a pot with water and a stainless steel bowl on top. You're gonna wanna make sure that there's no water at all in your pot. It's super clean. You'll add your chocolate and your butter in there and just let it melt at a medium heat. When I'm making mousse, I like to have all the ingredients ready to go, just so that it's really, really fast. And that way you'll prevent having chunks of chocolate in it. So we're gonna start with whisking our whipped cream. You're gonna whisk this again to a medium soft peak. This is just gonna make it a little bit lighter and a little bit more pliable. You can use 36%. We also have 52% cream that you can also use if you choose to, if you want a higher fat content in your desserts. Perfect. All right, so we'll set that aside. Next, we're gonna cream together our icing sugar, and it's Swerve icing sugar. I use the icing sugar versus the granulated because it'll dissolve better, so you won't have those kind of, I don't know, that crystally texture in your mouth, because sometimes they don't dissolve as well as the icing sugar. So you're gonna cream together your Swerve icing sugar and your cream cheese. You're gonna wanna make sure that your cream cheese is pretty soft while you're doing it, before you add in your avocado, just to reduce the likelihood of getting chunks of cream cheese. So I picked out a pretty ripe avocado. I prefer a riper avocado because then you're less likely to have kind of chunks in there. I don't really like chunky things when they're supposed to be nice and smooth. It's actually a perfect avocado. I'm really stoked about that. So maybe don't do this at home. This is how I take the pit out. And then I'm just gonna cut it into little smaller chunks just to make it easier to whip up here. I use a spoon to go around the base of the avocado to get it out. Whisk that up really good. The next step I'm going to do is called tempering. So what that means is I'm going to take some of my cream cheese mixture, I'm going to add it in quickly into my chocolate and butter, which will help prevent seizing when I add the chocolate into the avocado cream cheese mixture. So pull this off, and you're going to take just a small amount, add it in, and whisk it quickly. So we'll take this, it's gonna look something like that, and pop that in there, and then you're gonna whisk this in quite quickly. So So the next thing that we're gonna do is going to pipe the mousse onto a piece of parchment, and then we're gonna freeze it. So I've used a cutter. I like to use a cutter so that all of them are uniform. And use a pencil to draw circles on there. So we're gonna draw a few circles just so that, you know, it's nice. You can also put this in a lined pan with plastic wrap and pop it in the freezer and then cut out pieces as you need it. But this has way less waste, so you're gonna get more bang for your buck. All right, flip it over and make sure the pencil side is down. You obviously don't want pencil on your mousse. We've got our piping bag. You can either use a round tip or a star tip, depends on how fancy you feel like you want to be. I again like to use a container for my pastry bag so that it's nice and clean. Pop that mousse in there. So I start in the center and I move my way around like so. And with these ones, I give it a little bit of a double one so that you have a really thick mousse in the middle, which is really nice. Don't be afraid if you make a mistake, because all you have to do is scrape it off and start again. It's no big deal. And you want to do all of your mousse at once so it doesn't set up. That way they all look the same. So once you're done this, you probably get, I think I got about 12 out of here, this recipe. You're gonna put this on a tray and pop it in your freezer. Once they're frozen, you're ready to build your ice cream sandwiches. I suggest pulling them out 5 to 10 minutes before and building them with the cookie. And we'll show you that in just a second. Here I have some already piped and frozen mousse. I like to do them separately from the cookies. That way you don't have a really hard frozen cookie as you're trying to bite into it, and it's really difficult. So what I would do if you're going to a dinner party or you're having people over, pull them out 5 to 10 minutes in advance, kind of like an ice cream cake or something like that, so that they can soften up slightly. But when they're still quite frozen, you're gonna wanna put your cookie in with it and give it a little squeeze down. And so when it gets closer to serving, they are gonna flatten out quite a bit. Thank you for joining us again for Keto Dessert Series. I hope you enjoy this delicious summer snack, especially through the month of August. Please press subscribe to subscribe. Send us any of your comments. Again, if you have any favorite desserts that you maybe want to see us try to do that you haven't been able to do on the keto diet, let us know. Please like, please watch, and please share, and have a lovely day. Thanks.